We have big news. I'm going to call it big news because why not? Out of Dodgers camp as we are less than 1 week away from pitchers and catchers officially reporting. Ben Rortvedt, World Series champion. Ben Rortvedt, our hero. The catcher, he is back with the Dodgers, and two-time World Series champion pitcher Anthony Banda is out. You know this. Is anyone else not safe? We're talking about that today, and you'll get my thoughts, your reactions, plus I got three things on my mind. New segment I'm dropping today. All that, couple voicemails coming up here on this edition of All Dodgers. Coming at you live from my home studio in beautiful La Puente, California. This is the All Dodgers Podcast. Part of the Bleav Network of podcasts presented by FanDuel. My name is Clint. Find me as Real FRG on the social media machines. Just me today. Just us today. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me on the final off-season Saturday edition of the show. Because we got regular season coming up. I mean, the pitchers and catchers are already at Camelback Ranch. You can almost say we're in season already, but technically, once the Super Bowl happens, then baseball is here, and we're going to be happy. Baseball is back. We will not be without baseball happening on a weekend for like 7 months. So 7-8 months, whatever. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But either way, if you guys don't mind, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, all that kind of stuff, and drop into the comments. The show is a show that is built on you guys talking to me, and then me talking at you, and then everybody goes home, sort of thing. Let's see. We got some friends in the chat here. Eddie says, let's go Dodgers fans. So what's going on, Eddie? Thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate you here. Bedan Co saying Banda. We'll talk about Banda in just a second. Ken in the chat says, hello, everybody. And also thanks to the moderators here in the chat that keep things moving and kick the trolls out. I think that's an important thing. We have a very, very good chat. If you guys only listen to the show on the podcast side, make sure you join us for a live show one of these days. We think it's a pretty dang solid live chat. Reasonable people. Reasonable-ish. We'll call it. Let's get into the big news, of course, of the day, or of yesterday, really. We talked about this. I got the news broken to me from Jeff, who said that he called him Ronnie Roves because, as you all know, Ron Rortvedt, Ben Rortvedt, whatever you want to call him, from the initial time the Dodgers traded him. I didn't know who he was. Now he's my favorite pitcher or catcher in the whole wide world. He's not, but I like him, and he's back. But anyways, we talked about trying to do a show. We couldn't. The logistics didn't have it. But anyways, we knew about this. We didn't do anything because I was going to be here. Yada, yada. Stop talking. Well, there's the Banda part. Let's talk about Benny first. Ben Rortvedt back, claimed off of waivers by the Reds. Of course, the Dodgers had put him on waivers. The Reds claimed him in like December, something like that. As Yuha says, Clint got his man crush back. Hey, listen, I like Ben Rortvedt. Give me a catcher that can bunt. Give me a catcher that can be a catcher. I don't honestly think he makes it to opening day. Definitely won't be on the roster, but we'll talk more about that in just a second here. I had one from Richie. Says Benny R, old school hard-nosed player, great defensive catcher, called brilliant games, didn't take any shit from behind the plate. That's what I want in a Dodgers uniform. And that's what was fun about Ben Rortvedt. Like, he showed up at the right time, stepping in when Will got hurt last year. Dalton Rushing had an opportunity and immediately got hurt, fouling a pitch off of his leg. And the Dodgers were 4-0 in the postseason when Ben Rortvedt started. I'm not saying he's better than Will Smith by any stretch of the imagination, but he's back. It doesn't really mean that much. The big part of this, of course, is the Anthony Banda component of it. Anthony Banda, one of the guys I said very early in the offseason was a likely trade or DFA candidate just because of circumstance. I like Anthony Banda. I loved this tweet, by the way, from this foo. Sorry, I don't mean to disrespect the Foo family. Says check on your local tortas and hot Cheeto girls today. People love Anthony Banda, the real AB that nobody calls him. And yeah, bro was out of options. that works very much against him. Dodgers have a crap ton of other lefty reliever options with Tanner Scott, with Alex Vesia returning, Ronan Kopp on the roster, Jack Dreyer, Justin Wrobleski will be in the bullpen. Three of those names for sure at least they have a higher ceiling than Anthony Banda. Banda has been great. He was solid in his 2 seasons in a Dodgers uniform. You could argue the Dodgers don't win that 2024 World Series without him in tow. Less of a role for the 2025 team, but he was there. He was around. He was there. He was a warm body. He got some outs. He allowed some runs. It is what it is. But Banda out, and I don't think there's a whole lot of shock to it, if I'm being honest. Like, again, it didn't have options. You don't need 6 left-handed relievers on your 40-man roster when you're already tight on roster space. Now, the other side of the argument, somebody who just commented on my Twitter post when I made an announcement, hey, I'm about to go live, come join me. GI also saying the same thing about the Rortvedt side. Can't see them carrying 3 catchers on the 26-man roster, let alone the 40-man roster. Wouldn't surprise me if Ben Rortvedt gets DFA'd again, knowing that 25 other teams had already passed on him. There's a high likelihood. There is a minimal likelihood he makes the active roster, unless there's an injury or unless for some reason they decide to option Dalton Rushing to AAA to continue to work on something to get at bats mainly. I don't think they do that. I think the plan is this is what they want with Dalton. They want him to be the backup. They want him to continue to get exposure to the big league clubhouse and focus on his duties as the backup catcher. I mean, Dalton should be playing at least twice a week, backing up Will Smith at least twice a week. He has opportunity there. They will not carry 3 catchers unless there's some sort of injury. They will not carry 3 catchers on the active roster to open the season. Now, in an ideal world for sure, as I'm sorry, I'm having the lights come on. Apparently I get allergic to it, or I'm allergic to my own bullshit here, but bear with me as I have the nose tickles. In an ideal world, the Dodgers are able to DFA Rortvedt, pass him through waivers, and have him be, the first line of defense at AAA if somebody gets injured. But that's where we're at. These dudes are back, or he's back. That dude is back. The other dude is gone. It is what it is. I'm moving on to some of the chat. BC says Dalton. For now, it's an now or never season. This is a very, very important season for this kid. We've talked about it a little bit here on the internet over the couple of weeks and months of the offseason. He's got to play his way into opportunities. There's no other way around it. You need to find a way to have your bat force your way into the lineup more regularly. Whether it's trying to get in more at first, which Freddie Freeman says, nah, I'm playing 161 games this year because he takes his day off after the team clinches the division. If it's some opportunity in left field to spell, Teoscar Hernandez, give him some days off, however it works out. He wants to find his way into the lineup, and Dalton's got to hit straight up. That's really what it is. If you want to play baseball for the Dodgers to big league level, you got to hit. That's what your job is. I guess his job is kind of to be the backup catcher. I don't know. Now I'm just saying a bunch of words. GI says ideally Rortvedt clears waivers, accepts being outrighted to AAA. Yeah, and then again, Dodgers have space at AAA for sure, and I imagine Ben is happy with this organization. He had a good run with them last year. It makes a lot of sense for him to want to stay with the club. But then again, if he gets a big league opportunity, I think he learned a little bit of something about himself, about his swing. Not that he was good by any stretch of the imagination offensively last year. But he was better. He's better than he had been for a while as a big leaguer. We got a super chat from J-Day LA. I'm going to go hit that gong, hit that money, hit that coin. We appreciate J-Day. $4.99 super chat. Asking, am I the only one freaking out about Yamamoto throwing so many innings and being so small for an MLB pitcher? Shifting gears for a second, talking about Yamamoto, talking about pitching. I don't think you're the only person that's freaking out. I think it's reasonable to have some concerns about Yamamoto. The frame is slight. He is a shorter dude, but the mechanics are sound. The mechanics are solid. He seems to have an insanely good understanding of his body and his ability to take a lot of leverage, a lot of strain off of that arm. What we saw last year in the postseason was not ideal. It's far from ideal. I don't think we ever want to see that happen again. But he did it. We don't win that World Series without him doing that. And give him some rest when he needs it. If he needs it, he'll have a kind of smaller workload during the WBC, slower ramp up, as it were. But you're not alone in having concerns. Absolutely not. I'm less on the concern side, but mostly again because of mechanics and his understanding of his body and the people that he has, the staff, the support crew, all of that, whether it's his own guys or the Dodgers, helping keeping him healthy. Dude is very, very in tune with his body. So we'll see. Floor for me is like 24 starts. I think that should be a goal. He made 30 starts for the Dodgers last year. Just make sure he's healthy for the postseason. We know that's by far the most important thing. Terry Hesticles with the $1.99 super chat. Thank you very much, Terry Hesticles. We love Terry Hesticles. Say goodbye to the Torta Slayer, Mr. Banda. Hey, we pour one out. I pour my coffee out into my mouth. For Anthony Banda. Cool dude. I mean, honestly, he was a really good dude in that clubhouse. Part of the Dogs, 2-time World Series champion. Go back to 2024, in September or whatever it was, maybe August. He got mad and, hit something and broke his hand like a dumbass. Thankfully, he's able to, get healthy, get himself right, and end up being a factor for the Dodgers during that World Series and all that. But, yeah, the king of the tortas, man. I'm telling you. There he is. Rest in peace. Anthony Banda. Good thing with him, I'm already seeing, there's a number of fans, fan bases of other teams. They're excited. They're chomping at the bit to get somebody like him. I saw an Angels account in particular being like, get this dude right now. He's got a lot of talent. He brings something to an organization, and hopefully he's in a good enough mind space now of understanding. I mean, he was in the league for a hot minute before joining the Dodgers. Very sparing success here and there. I think he found something in LA. He locked in. Hopefully he's able to take that, run with it, have that kind of feel that he's bringing a veteran leadership to another club, whether it is the Angels or wherever he ends up landing. Hopefully it's a team in postseason contention, and hopefully he can continue to build on that success. Anthony Banda will not pass through waivers. He will not even accept an outright to AAA. He will find himself a big league job. He will be fine. Empire Jeff is in the chat. What's going on, Jeff? Good to see Empire Jeff in the chat. Does a lot of great things talking about the Dodgers across the internet. Go find him. I believe it's at Empire Jeff TV on the X, the Twitter for sure, Instagram, all those spots. I think you're on Instagram. I know I've seen you on the Twitter, but and here on the YouTube. Who else we got here in the chat? Denny talking about, I don't know if I already put this one up, but Dalton Rushing playing the infield. He plays a little first. I don't recall that he has played much beyond that, at least as a pro. Let me get my screens in order here so I can look up things and stuff, and let's find some fielding. Yeah, first base, left field a little bit, but mostly catching. Well, he got into 41 games with the Dodgers last year. I mean, it makes sense. He was called up kind of early. I forgot how early in the season they DFA'd Austin Barnes, who's with the Mets now. I don't know if we actually talked about that on on the chat or on this show. I know we talked about it on the Dodgers territory. J-Day talking about load management. I'm assuming we're talking about load management for Yamamoto, but we could also talk about load management for Will Smith, and somebody like Ben Rortvedt helps in some regard if he sticks around. Juhas on the Benny Rortvedt side of things. Benny Biceps, a catcher who can give you serviceable offensive production while calling a good game is a rarity. Benny Biceps will find a place somewhere. Yeah, I think he showed a lot in his brief stint with the Dodgers, even into the postseason. Like he did not bend at any point. Like he seemed like a very, very seemed like he'd been there, done that before, even though he hadn't. So I like that. I like that a lot about him, whether he stays in this organization or he finds a job somewhere else. Like he is going to be one of those long-time journeyman backup catcher dudes because he's got the tools, he's got the talent, he's worked with the best pitching staff. You could argue the best pitching staff in baseball last year. I'm sure that helps him out a whole bunch. J.Y. Kim talking about Banda, didn't realize that he had moved around quite a bit. Thought he had been a lifer. No, he bounced around a lot. I think he spent some time. I know he came up with the Diamondbacks, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go ahead and pull up that B-ref here real quick. Yeah, came up with Diamondbacks, spent some time, a few years with the Rays, not really much in the way of success. Mets, Pittsburgh, Toronto, Yankees, Washington before ending up with the Dodgers. And everything before the Dodgers, the ERA was not pretty. Combined 5.69 career ERA before he joined the Dodgers, 3.14. That's pie if you're nasty. As a Dodger, the peripherals don't love him. He gave up some walks, obviously, last year. But still, like, if this is gonna be like for a bad bullpen, their fifth option, a second lefty, he's got a future. He will be very, very fine. J-Day talking about Dalton Rushing playing a lot of first because he was blocked at catcher. Yeah, his legs at catch are a little on the more fresh side for sure. He's blocked at first base in LA, I'll tell you that much. He's blocked at both of those positions for sure. Let's see, GI talking about there's a good chance he clears waivers for sure. Absolutely. I think there is early in the season, coming out of spring training, like we mentioned earlier, somebody mentioned in the chat, if somebody was going to claim him, they would have claimed him already. Absolutely. Denny has learned to not get attached to anybody without a long-term contract. It's a good call. Don't get attached to any of these people. They're just wearing the same clothes that we like. Moving on to something related to this. So Banda's out, Benny's back, but the Banda thing is somewhat shocking, you might say. Who's not safe next? That's what I'm kind of wondering. We've talked around this a good little bit. I mentioned earlier, super early in the offseason on Dodgers territory, I had my 9 guys who won't be back. Banda was on that list. At least I think I had Banda on that list. I know I had him mentally. I don't know if I actually put it out on the show. But who are the guys that could not be back? I'm going to get to my list that I, just so I don't remember the dudes or I don't forget the dudes that I had brained about earlier. Who's not safe next? Maybe Michael Ciani once again. He's already been DFA'd a whole bunch all across teams across the league this winter. He's a clear, if they need a roster spot, DFA candidate. The outfielder can't hit. Doesn't really need to be here so much. Technically Ben Rortvedt, if this team needs a roster spot. He's probably one of the first people they're going to DFA, if we're being fair. J-Day says, I can see Alex Call leaving. I don't think so. I think they're bought in on Call right now to be the fourth outfielder. Play a little bit of center, play a little bit of left. He'll probably get most of his reps in left. He'll probably be something of a defensive replacement potentially for Teoscar Hernandez, but mainly his starts are going to happen when somebody gets injured. Wade also I had opined on a show Jeff and I did this week after they brought back Siani that, I don't know, to me, I think them getting rid of the infielder, DFA'ing Andy Ibanez, who has now since been claimed by the Athletics of no destination, Sacramento Athletics, if you will. Him being out, them getting rid of an infielder, and then bringing back like a true defensive whiz center field option. I'm kind of reading some tea leaves in that I don't think they want to move Tommy Edman around a whole bunch. I think he would likely be the everyday second baseman, and they'll like that. Like they just want to keep him there. They would like to keep him there, not move him around too much. Maybe back up at short a little bit if he needs. But that's why he got Miggy Rowe. He got Miggy Rowe for one more year. GI, bring it up in the chat. Siani's got options, so I think he's safe. Yeah, that should help for sure. He should get a lot of run at AAA, but if they need a roster spot, it's a but. If there's going to be somebody not safe, it's somebody who can't hit, and we know he can't hit. History tells us he can't hit. Baseball Reference tells us he can't hit. Another guy, third guy on my list of who's not safe if the Dodgers need a roster spot. It's of course Bobby Miller. Give me any opportunity to throw some shade at big game Bob. I will. I got a little bit. I wouldn't say high hopes. I've got the tiniest shred of hope that he could figure out something. He will get a fair amount of opportunity early in spring training. Just duck when the ball comes his way. Don't take it off the noggin. But there was a column in either the California Post or LA Times or somewhere about Bobby Miller, some of the things he's worked on. Obviously, he's focused on I didn't read it. I'm assuming that he's focused on being a reliever because starting did not work out for him even slightly. So hopefully he finds himself a niche, focuses on 2 pitches. But he is somebody in the concept, the point of this particular section of the show. Who's not safe next? Bobby Miller. I think he is less safe than somebody like a Landon Knack who can give you some innings, has options and all that kind of stuff, and has a little bit more, mental toughness, as our boy Richie might have to, or might be bringing up in the chat at some point. But that's where I'm at on those. That's where I'm at on that part of the conversation. The odds makers, if we will, they're a fan of the addition, I guess. Actually, I forgot what screen I had put. So instead, I'm going to talk about this one over with our friends at FanDuel. I found a new one that I think is kind of fun because now that the season's getting here, they're coming up with new different props and ways you can bet on the Dodgers, really. But if you're somebody who likes going to a casino and putting like $5 down on going to the roulette table and putting $5 down on black or red, or like in thirds, if you know the game, which I don't know the game that well, I just push the buttons and wait for them to give me money. One of the things I would call this like a safe bet is you can bet on which market is going to be produces the World Series winner. Like you see, if you're watching on the screen, the Dodgers, California, which is home of your Los Angeles Dodgers. I know, shocker. They are amongst the favorites. California is amongst the favorites to produce the World Series winner, whether it's the Athletics, the Angels, Dodgers, Padres, Giants. I think of all those teams, the Dodgers have the better chance. And then there's also the field. You can just take the field, but at plus 180 favorites, not favorites, plus 180 odds, I don't know, it feels like kind of fun to throw a couple of bucks on. So I figured I'd present this to you guys. If you also like the fact that the Dodgers are pretty heavy favorites to win the World Series by odds, by predictors, all these kind of weird things that are out there. Put like $5 on the World Series winner coming out of California. Maybe you'll be happy. Maybe you'll get yourself some, cheeseburger money for after the postseason. Into, what do they call that? Into the holiday season. There it is. didn't prep this part. Obviously, very good in my mind. But either way, I like the idea. I might put like $10 on California, and then like $10 on the field, because why not? Anyways, moving on. Reno-san says the Tortas are boycotting for Banda in front of my neighborhood Walmart. God damn. That's a, you know what? I think I'm gonna hit that one. I felt like the right button. Anyways, moving on. I said I was gonna introduce a new to hear segment. I'm calling it 3 Things because I like segments, and this is something where ideally I want to get this thing ramping up and talk about 3 things like every Saturday that I like. It doesn't necessarily need to be Dodgers, or not even like, because the first one we're talking about here is not something you like even slightly, but just 3 baseball things that caught my eye that I wanted to talk about. And I think we would be bad people if we didn't talk about, of course, the news of the day, the passing of a former big leaguer, former Dodger, part of that 2020 World Series team, Terrance Gore. Dude was only 34. Apparently, the reports or things that people have posted online is that there were complications during a routine surgery. Whatever it was, I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been something bad. Could have been like, I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. That's weird. It's weird. Either way, the poor dude is no longer with us. And he's somebody who's very important to that 2015 World Series Kansas City Royals team. Technically, I believe was a part of 3 different World Series winning squads. And yeah, I mean, you feel for the family. Hadn't been in the big league since 2022. You feel for the family. You feel for a lot of people around the league that knew him. By all accounts, seemed like one of the good dudes in baseball. And it's terrible. It's tragedy, absolute tragedy. Rest in peace to a World Series hero, I'm going to call him, because he was there and he could run. Man, that dude could run. Rest in peace to Terrance Gore, 2020 Dodgers World Series champion, even though he wasn't on the roster. I don't remember if he was. You guys let me know in the comments below if he was actually on that roster. I know he got into 2 games in the regular season, but shout out Terrance Gore. Much love to the family. That's number 1. Number 2, this is the thing, very much shifting gears. This is the thing. It's the thing, I don't know, I guess it somewhat bothered me. So we had on Dodgers territory, myself, Alana Rizzo, Katie Wu of The Athletic. We had Mark Pryor, Dodgers pitching coach, on the Dodgers territory on Thursday. And solid interview. Everything was great. Go check it out. I have some clips here I might play during the show. I did get Pryor to give me some love for Kyle Hurt, but you guys know me at this point. A lot of you folks know me. You know that I have some fun when I set up some of my comments or set up some of my questions. I like to humanize the people that are joining us, whether it's Dave Roberts in, when we did our 2-on-1 or whatever sit down at Camelback last year, or different interviews with him, Andrew Friedman a couple weeks ago on Dodgers territory, Mark Pryor, etc. Somebody was saying that I was acting like starstruck and nervous or something like that. When I sound like all jumbled, that's because my brain is stepping on its own feet as I'm trying to maybe overdevelop some tongue-in-cheek humor to set something up. So that's on me. That's just trying too hard because there's a camera in my face. But otherwise, it's me just like being a dude with these dudes. Like, that's what I am. Bro's a dude. Mark Pryor's a dude. And we're just talking baseball. And I like to have a little fun in my setups. And with that, I'll parlay this. I will play this into Mark Pryor talking about Kyle Hurt, because you guys know I love Kyle Hurt. I'm a big-time Kyle Hurt guy, and I wanted him to give me more love for Kyle Hurt. So you could see my setup here and let me know whether I was being starstruck with a dude that I know that I've spoken to 3 or 4 or 5 times on Dodgers territory. Was I being starstruck, or was I just being extra? You let me know in the comments below after this like 3-ish minute clip with Mark Pryor. One guy I wanted to expand on ever so slightly before we let you go is a dude I'm super high on. I mean, I think this guy just got closer makeup, even though he's kind of been a starter. But I'm going to call him Big Haas, Kyle Hurt. What do you think about a potential role for him heading into the spring? I'm telling you, if there's somebody I want with me in a bar fight, it's Kyle frickin' Hurt. Dude is a beast. But what do you like about Kyle Hurt?
I would hope that he's not in a bar fight.
Let's
just start there.
Don't use the right hand.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, Kyle he's another one. Again, we got big boy stuff out of him with his fastball and his changeup. Another guy that we saw, I guess my dating myself I guess it was at the end of the 24 season. Kind of what was going on with him, or maybe it was the 20. My years are all starting to blend together. But we saw what he did against the Padres late in the year. 1 year, and you saw the skill and the talent and just the raw stuff. And when you start seeing really good big league hitters, Machado, Cronenworth at the time, Tatis, and you see what he's making them kind of take those awkward swings, then something's in there and something's real. And unfortunately, he had the injury that came up, but he's another one. I think you can put him in any role. I think he's a guy who can go in and he could be a setup guy in the 8th inning if you need him, and that's the way the game dictated. I think he could get you out of trouble in the 5th or 6th inning if that's the way the game calls for it. I think he can give you multiple innings as well. I think he has that ability, and that's the one nice thing about, I think, all our guys. Clearly, Edwin's going to be probably at the back end. Tanner's going to be mostly, kind of like 1 inning at the back end. But all our guys, they're all, they can adjust and they can adapt to whatever the game is asking out of them or what the team is in need of. And so that's something that has been built with our culture. And I think it goes back to, almost the 2020 season. And it starts with Blake. He kind of started that. And then you kind of have guys, Daniel Hudson and Kenley. They all kind of built on it and they all kind of compounded on each other. But they're all adapt to whatever was needed for us to win a ball game. And I think that's been the beauty to watch this team. It's not about what do I need to do or what do I need what role do I need to be in. They just need to know, like, am I available today or am I not? And then they're ready when the phone rings. And it's, again, that doesn't happen everywhere. I know it happens other places, but it's a nice, as a staff and as a coach, it's nice to watch these guys pick each other up and support each other, because that's what makes it fun and makes it a lot of fun to go out there and win ball games together.
All right, let's first talk about the Kyle Hurt love in there. It's funny, you look at Kyle Hurt's baseball reference and is only like 4 games, and the impression that kid made on me in that amount of games. And I know there's a lot of people here in the chat who have that same feeling about him. Like, dude, I'll say it again, dude is a dude. He's got nasty stuff, and I love what Pryor had brought up there early in his Mark Pryor, he can definitely rant for sure, but talking about how silly Hurt made some of those Padres hitters, particularly Tatis and Machado, look with that stuff. That tells you something. That absolutely tells you something. If you can make elite hitters look foolish, obviously somebody like Manny Machado is going to try to sell out particularly against a rookie. He's going to try to sell out for a homer on a fastball, but when you're talking about throwing some wrinkles in there, Kyle Hurt, he's got the stuff. He's got the shit, and I'm really hoping he finds a way to force the team's hand and have him in that bullpen, whatever the role is. I also love Pryor talking about how pretty much affirming what we all know. Like there are no selfish people in there. They are all welcome. They're all open to any role. I think even Edwin Diaz is fine. Even though he's coming in to be the closer. He is paid to be the closer. But if he needs to get some big outs in the 7th inning, if he's not ready to do it, he better fall in line, because there are bigger outs sometimes in the 7th or 8th than there are in the 9th. But everybody open to every opportunity. I love that. Now, back to what set this up. People thinking I'm all nervous and blah, blah, blah. No, again, that's just how I talk to these people. I appreciate the comments in there for sure that we have in here. Denny saying I don't see anything wrong. Wrong seems like the Clint I know, and agree. That is just who I am. And you guys who have met me in real person, real life, in the flesh, that's who I am. Nicole says the interview was casual, which is an approach to get the guest to relax or disarm, which is 1,000% what I'm going for. So I will give Nicole some points there. It's being human, canned conversation. So I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of the robotic MLB Network. Get you in, get you out. I'm going to ask you these questions because this is what my editor wanted. Like to have fun with them, and I'll agree with where I'm at. Pocket Root. I will also agree with this. Fuck yes. I try too hard sometimes to force a funny bit because I know it's there. Sometimes I need to give myself a bit more of an opportunity to let it breathe. Sometimes I get too excited about the bit that I fuck it up. That's hand up. I do it. I do it a lot. I do it in real life because I think it's funny and I'm here to entertain myself. I am my number one fan. I am only here to entertain myself. You guys are along with me and I appreciate you for that. But tired bits, some of those for sure. Twitter X machine. I don't like X. I think it's stupid. I think it's fucking stupid. It's a stupid name for an app. It's called Twitter. You had so many things. There's built-in branding around it. So it's Twitter, but people like to call it X. Some people might, so I threw that in there. Nasty, yeah, something if you're nasty. That's a trope I have. It's easy filler words to meet the assignment. Good players, living players. Well, yeah, I like some of my Simpsons references wherever I can get them. But yeah, I have a tendency to bail on some of the bits, and mostly on if it's like Dodgers territory. I will bail when I know like the setup is going to take a little bit too long. And if we're in the middle of an interview with somebody, I'm like, I don't want to do this to this guy. I'll leave him alone. Or I just started it wrong and I don't have a script in front of me when I'm setting up the bits. So it is what it is. Or sometimes I do have something I kind of tried to script out for myself and I will stumble on trying to read it and address the camera and have it be natural. So, hey, I've only been doing this for 10 years, man. We're all still learning and growing. But either way, I appreciate the criticism from Pocket Rude Boy and the astute observation because I don't disagree. I am imperfect for sure. Nicole said, didn't get the vibe that you were nervous. Interview was fine. It was fun. I love talking to Mark Pryor. You guys know I do enjoy myself some nerdy baseball talk. And when Riz told Katie and I that she landed Pryor for that day, I said, woo, nerdy baseball talk. I could have gone in. I can go in. Like, with me setting up and Pryor answering, you got like a 3-hour show, real easy, just sitting right there for sure. A lot of other love. I don't need to put them all up there, but I appreciate the love from folks here in the chat, and we again appreciate Mark Pryor joining the show this week. More coming up for sure as spring training happens, and then we're going to be out at spring training. Getting some interviews, getting some stuff, and I will try to have pertinent things here on the show. But anyways, moving back to less about this and more about the Dodgers and more about Kyle Hurt. GI talking about Kyle Hurt in the chat, saying should be in the mix for the pen, but it's going to be competitive. Only 3 spots theoretically open. 9 guys battling for those roster openings. Let me see what I have, because I have had some pitching stuff here. I don't know if I still have it loaded up. Let's see. Is this the accurate one? I might need this one. I might need to do a little bit of editing. Hold on. Let me get this squared away. Put the right screens up, and boom, and that's not right. Oh, come on, you bitch. Hold, please. I am but one man. Okay, there we go. Let me almost go. Let's unlock it. Let's fix some things. All right, I'll just go to the scene now so you guys can see what I'm looking at. I gotta look. I gotta see how updated this one actually is. I also am particular, so I'm gonna widen my screen there. But who do we got to eliminate now? We got to eliminate over here. Let's go ahead and get rid of Banda. We're gonna update it in real time. The point is, you got a lot of options. You got a lot of bullpen for only. Well, pitching staff-wise, you got 13 spots you got to fill. Oh, there's an update in real time, so I can do that. Boom. There, now we're updated. I thought that was updating in real time. You guys didn't see any of it. Hell yeah. All right. That's what happens. We're here. We're just hanging. We're live. A lot of really good options. It sounds to me like some of the things Pryor had mentioned, sounds to me like they are kind of potentially teeing up Gavin Stone opening the season at AAA, because he wasn't as close last year to end the season as somebody like Kyle Hurt. Kyle Hurt got into, I think it was 7 AAA games, and then the season ended. Like, he was ready. If they needed in a break in case of emergency situation, if they needed a dude, if they needed a some sort of bullpen piece, they could have pulled that lever for sure. Same with the other dude who was injured, River Ryan. He was throwing a little bit, not as much, and he is somebody who, with Blake Snell likely starting the season on the IL, as he's ramps up slow from a slower offseason. He's somebody who could maybe get a spot there, or they might even be able to get away with having a 5-man rotation to start the season or something like that. But the point is, he's somebody they could very easily argue can start the season at AAA as well. But all these dudes are also dudes who can end up being in the bullpen, being a factor in the bullpen. Brock Stewart, I didn't watch it yet. Brock Stewart was on foul territory yesterday. It seems like he's healthy. It seems like he's trending in the right direction. I don't know that he is somebody who is going to be ready and available for opening day, but back to what GI said, it's going to be competitive. This bullpen, to the bullpen competition at spring training. Oh, is it going to be every bit of a competition? That is a great thing. Brewstar's back. Brewstar's healthy. Blake Trinan was a guy that Pryor had mentioned is in a really good spot heading into spring training. Obviously did not have himself a good year last year. You would love to get the old Blake back. Edgardo Henriquez, another year older, another year wiser, potentially. They're higher. I don't know. I don't know that I am low on Will Klein. I might not be as high as other people are on Will Klein. But he's there. He is definitely a solid option for the start of the season. It's a really good bullpen. It's a lot of really good options. One guy, as I kind of apparently have turned 3 things into this longer rant about Kyle Hurt, and that was kind of the third thing with this, is like about Mark Pryor and actually talking about Kyle Hurt and bullpen and all that kind of stuff. One of the things I also wanted to bring up as like 3 things I wanted to talk about today was a guy you see in the middle of the right-handed relief pitchers options. Somebody that I think, and I've been wanting to talk about this, is probably a longer segment. So maybe when we get into some previews in the coming weeks here on All Dodgers, one guy I think who can take a huge step forward this year is Benny Caps. Ben Casparius was, I don't say the leader, but he was an absolute workhorse for that bullpen early in the season last year. This much we know. Keeping him in the bullpen, keeping him in one role, God, that's going to go a long way. That is going to go such a long way for him, for his career, for this Dodgers, because he's somebody you can put in that same breath of like some of the things we're talking about with Kyle Hurt and making hitters look foolish. Ben Casparius has that kind of stuff with the breaking pitch, the off speed, and that fastball, how well they play off of each other with the tunneling. He's nasty, and he very clearly needs to be set in one role. Cough, cough, the bullpen. Keep him there, and I don't know. He's one of my dude. My third thing, and I'll make that my third and final thing. Ben Casparius. Dude, I am watching a dude who can and will take a huge leap forward here in 2026. Love that dude. Big fan of that guy. Moving on. Appreciate you guys hanging out here with me on this Saturday edition of the show. Like the show, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Tell me about all the things I'm wrong in. I appreciate it. BC said Casparius better off not trying to start again. I wouldn't be super shocked if they stretched him out a little bit to start. Not necessarily consider him a starter, but they stretched him out a little bit at the start of spring training. Another one of the things that Pryor had mentioned was the whole guys open to a lot of different roles, whatever gets them into games, essentially, just being ready and having, especially earlier in the season, some guys that are available to cover multiple innings. That'll go a long way. That would absolutely go a long way. Did I just see? Oh, there it is. Godzilla. Godzilla joined the chat, by the way. Let's see where's the one that tells me that Godzilla joined the chat. Please hold. We got that. We got that. Well, I saw this one right here. Godzilla says, Clint, I watch a lot of these channels. You are near the top. Thank you very much. I want to be at the top. No, I appreciate that. But Godzilla became a member of the channel. That is super awesome. Became I welcome to the I want the emojis tier. We do have emojis. They don't look good when I put them on the screen, but they do look good if you're watching on the YouTube side. We just added a whole bunch of emojis. So yeah. We got that going. Got that going for us. I also missed JY Kim, by the way. JY Kim giving some love. I think I missed it, but if not, we're going to hit it again. Or if I didn't, whatever. You know the words. Clint, you were a fine, genuine interviewer. I appreciate that. JY Kim. Y'all are awesome. Have fun doing this stuff. Well, I said it was for myself, but it's also, to be fair, it's for you guys, for sure. For sure. Words, stuff, etc. We got some voicemails before we get into more chats, and then we do head out for the day. As you guys imagine, we do have a voicemail from Richie. Let's hear from Richie. Richie's got a number of things to say, as he does, as per usual. I'm very interested. I didn't listen. I didn't screen Richie's. I just know it said long. So here's what Richie has to say on the voicemail hotline.
You know, not to beat a dead horse, unless that horse's name is Manny Machado, baseball can be its own worst enemy. The narratives that talking heads like Mad Dog Russo or Michael Kay of the Yes Network that will spew and scream and cry that the Dodgers are ruining baseball. But yet, since that's such a lazy take and low-lying fruit, they don't peel back the layers of the onion and see what's actually going on with the game. And nothing could be more clear than what happened this week. The Detroit Tigers, in their wisdom and their stupidity, tried to tell Skubal that he was only worth $19 million. A man who has won 35 games and only lost 10 in the past 2 years, and has back-to-back Cy Young awards in his back pocket, and then essentially flips him the double middle fingers and wins his arbitration and gets $35 million for his final year, is just poetic justice and a chef's kiss. And the bitterness that's going to follow. If I'm Derek Skubal, I'm going to go out there and win another Cy Young. Not for the Tigers, not for the city, but for himself. Because that would be the ultimate double middle fingers to the establishment and the people that abuse his game and the owners that pocket all of the money of all the teams that have to pay for going over the luxury tax and pocketing all of the national TV money that's supposed to be helping them to build up their farm system so they can be something. And the Michael Kays and the Mad Dog Russos and everybody who says that we are ruining baseball, no. It's the Detroit Tigers of the world, the Kansas Cities of the world, and the Pittsburghs of the world that are ruining the game. So that argument falls faster than an old lady taking off her bra and her tits hitting the floor. And that's the disgusting part of the game. But as the season gets closer, we are going to get excited. We are going to get excited seeing highlights of Shohei playing catch. And for us, the beautiful sound of the game will begin. And my pilgrimage to Camelback Ranch will be coming near. Baseball is a beautiful game, but let's not punish the teams that do care about winning. And they care about winning just as easily as it comes natural to breathe air to survive. And finally, I'll end on this. Fuck the Dodger Stadium parking lot. Fuck Manny Machado. Fuck the Tigers for fucking Skubal. And for the love of God, fuck the Ghost Runner.
He ran out of voicemail just at the time he was going to say, see ya. But, Rich, by the way, this is Saturday. We curse on Saturday. I forgot to mention that at the top of the show. We've obviously spent a lot of time talking about the Godzilla said, like a lazy take, lazy narrative of the whole ruining baseball. I think this is what Godzilla was talking about, the lazy take being that narrative, that very tired narrative. The Dodgers are ruining baseball. I agree with Richie. It's the teams that don't want to spend. It's your Marlins. It's, my God, is it your Pirates organization? They won't even spend on Andrew McCutchen right now, and they're feigning like it's because they're interested in trying to get better on the field. With what? You have Paul Skeens, and you're wasting all the other talent you have. Paul Skeens, Mitch Keller, I think, is still there and healthy. Support the team. They traded away Ke'Bryan Hayes last year. Support your team. Add to the team. There's still a lot of very good players. Throw Zach Gallen. Give Paul Skeens another veteran in that starting rotation. Zach Gallen is available. They fucking have money. Pittsburgh has money to spend. They are the teams. White Sox, at least they spent some money this offseason. They tried a little bit. Finally moved Lou Bob, got some prospect pieces back. I think, what is it, Luis Angel or Luis Angel. What's the guy's name? Acuna Matata. Him having an opportunity to actually get some playing time with the White Sox. Hopefully Miguel Vargas takes a step forward for them. Maybe James Outman finds something for the White Sox, but they tried. They threw some money in there. They are the teams that are ruining baseball. Hey, it's a little not 6-7. It's a little wishy-washy. The A's have spent a lot of money keeping their guys around. Most recently giving Jacob Wilson, their shortstop, an extension. They've signed a lot of dudes to extensions. I think Brent Rooker is somebody who did, or is the only guy who didn't. I forget. I'm not an athletics follower very closely. At least they're doing that. They're actually keeping their talent in-house. Now, you could argue they're sort of maybe doing that thing like the Braves did, where they're signing these guys at a super team-friendly, not player-friendly, not MLBPA-friendly deals. They're signing them there, very cheap deals, but they're not free agents, To get security early in your career, you give up a lot of rights, financially, earning power. GI talking about Nick Kurtz. Space that one out. Hasn't signed an extension either. That's a dude who 100% should not sign an extension. He needs to go to free agency because I think Dodgers will need a first baseman in about 4 years. So make that one work. Tina in the chat, by the way, says 155 watching, 35 likes. Guys, hit that like button. Help Tina out. She wants us to get more likes on the channel. I wouldn't mind it either, for sure. But anyways, to wrap up, my thoughts on Richie's thoughts. I agree. Also, Richie, very much. He watches a lot. He consumes a lot of online content, a lot of podcast content, a lot of that national content. They have some ways about them, some narratives the national reporters will try to force in there for sure. Getting back into the super chats for a second before we listen to a voicemail from our buddy Noah, as you know, and some good conversation to have from Noah's voicemail. But $5 from Godzilla. Appreciate Godzilla in there. Says Dodgers have more arms than an octopus slumber party. It's a lot of arms. So much talent. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how things shake out with this roster. I'll throw it back up on the screen. That's the wrong one. That's said pitching roster. There it is. That's the one I wanted. All of those guys in the rotation. It's insane. It's an insane amount of talent. Talking about we like to make fun of a whole bunch. Lance Lynn starting a postseason game for this team. We are not in Kansas anymore, Toto. I'll tell you that much. Raul giving me some love, $1.99, saying, Clint, you're a bro, doing a great job, bro. Appreciate the love. He also had saved this one. I felt like this is just me, stroking my own ego, saying why you're my favorite, Clint, just being a bro. So I like to do. I like to have fun here. It's the whole point of having my own channel as well. It's just like us doing something a little bit different. 100% a little bit different from what everybody else is going to do. I'm not trying to push an agenda or a narrative. I'm just talking about things that I feel like talking about. Anyways, we'll go back up to this screen here. How about we go ahead and listen to Noah, as you know?
Well, what up, guys? It's Noah, as you know. I gotta say, guys, I'm really excited for this spring training. I'm going to be paying pretty much attention to every single pitcher across the board. More specifically, the young talent such as River Ryan, Roki Sasaki, Kyle Hurt, Gavin Stone. I'm going to keep an eye on them because, let's be honest, guys, eventually during the season, pitchers are going to get injured, and we're going to need them. We already got reports of Blake Snell supposedly being injured. Wink, wink. But let's see where it goes from there. And the one pitcher I'm very high on is River Ryan, given how he looked right before he got injured. And he said he had a new pitch, which we have yet to see, and his pitches were already nasty. And then there's Roki Sasaki. He pitched 3 perfect innings versus the Phillies. He has the potential to be an ace. I personally think that he will be an ace for the Dodgers eventually. We just got to be patient. And Kershaw's first full year and Scooball's first full year, they both had ERAs above 4.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a struggle at the beginning. But that's what gets us to success is the patience. Keep in mind, Will Smith himself wasn't successful in his first full season. So we also got to give Dalton Rushing some time. But anyways, guys, that's all I got to say. But as always, fuck Fernando Tatis, fuck Manny Machado, fuck the Padres, fuck the Giants, fuck the Dodger Stadium parking lot, and for the love of God, fuck the Ghost Runner. See ya.
Yeah, I'm glad Padres fans haven't necessarily found the show, or at least they're not as awful as they were back in like 2019 and 2020, because we had voicemails signing off that way. It would be, we're in their head, rent free, that kind of dumb shit. Anyways, to the meat of Noah's point there, all of the talented arms that are like the kind of secondary arms. One of the things we talked to Mark Pryor about as well, like his what he likes about River Ryan, Gavin Stone, that kind of stuff. I saw this earlier in the chat from Dodger Dog, and I hate it. I hate it so deeply because, yeah, probably right. But they said, we'll have bullpen games within a week or two of the season. Let the load management and phantom injuries begin. Like, damn it. When you write, Anyways, I think so. I did pull another clip there. So I asked Mark Pryor about, his thought about Roki Sasaki and that stuff we talked about a lot this week. The whole thing of him adding a little bit more, west and east to his pitches that are mostly north and south, or north and falling off, and how that could affect. I don't have that clip. I'm not going to play that clip. Go check it out on the Dodgers territory. He gave some really good stuff, some really insight, because I asked him, it's like, hey, can that potentially affect the stuff that he's good at, that he's known for, this splitter forkball? And he shares this insight, but he also gave us a lot of love about, I'm calling them the 3 rooks, even though they're not rookies, with Gavin Stone, River Ryan, and of course Emmett Sheehan. I clipped it. Might as well listen to what Mark Pryor had to say to us on Dodgers territory earlier this week.
I'm just going to give you 3 names: Emmett Sheehan, River Ryan, and Gavin Stone. Make the case, or what should we know about each of those young men? What can they bring?
I mean, look, all 3 of those guys are going to pitch for the Los Angeles Dodgers at some point this season. I think if one thing has been consistent over the years is that we use our roster either out of guys performing in the minor leagues and pitching well, or out of need because I think some guys have, had, some injuries. All 3 of those guys I think are going to impact our roster to win, and how and in what degree. I can't tell you that. The one thing that I think that I've learned now going into my, I don't know, 7th season or 8th season, whatever it is, every year's been different, but we've been consistently knowing that we do need starters at some point. And so I think with Gavin Stone, I mean, you look at a guy 2 years ago who you could probably say was kind of almost like our bedrock in our rotation at the time. The guy all the way through August was one of our most consistent pitchers. He would give us, games where he'd go deep into games. He'd give us huge impact games. I remember against the Padres with some big strikeouts and some unbelievable performances. So, he's got that talent. He came up in his rookie year, and he had a lot of learning experiences from understanding who he was as a pitcher, what he can do to dominate, what his strengths were, to tipping, and then that coming back in that 24 season, what he did was unbelievable. So I expect him to probably we'll have to figure out where he's at. He was just because of the timeline, he never really got out to pitch a whole lot. So we'll kind of see whether or not where we're at with him from a standpoint at the end of spring and how he competes. Emmett Sheehan did what he did last year. I mean, coming off of Tommy John, he got thrown right into the fire. I think it was against the Giants in a game, and he stepped up big time. He had a lot of big performances down the stretch, and a lot of games where I think he was key to our success, where we started picking up and really started firing on all cylinders. So he's going to be in that mix for sure. And then River Ryan, look, I mean, we only got to see a taste of him that year. He came up for us out of necessity, and that game he threw against the Astros was unbelievable. And I don't think any of us, we knew the stuff was there, but for him to put it all together in that one performance, I think that's the ceiling that you're looking for. And I think it's, in all accounts, he finished off his rehab progression last year. He's bigger, he's stronger. I think he understands what it takes to prepare to pitch at this level. So I think we're all excited to kind of see a little bit more of him, just because we didn't see a lot of him the last time. But excited to see him in a much more extended look this year. And again, I think all three of them are going to impact. It's just hard to pinpoint when that's going to be and how.
Shout out again, Mark Pryor joining us on Dodgers Territory this week. Check out the full interview. It's on the YouTube. It's on your podcast platforms and all that kind of stuff. But, I feel, piggybacking off of that, I feel like we probably haven't. We've talked a bit about Gavin Stone. We definitely talked probably more than some other people. I don't know. Like I'm very high on Stoner. I'm higher on Stoner than I am on Sheehan, and Sheehan was pretty damn good last year. What Pryor said there about River Ryan and that small sample size. Same with Kyle Hurt. Kyle Hurt, River Ryan, such a small sample size, but the impression that those two dudes made in those small sample sizes. We keep talking about the tools, the talent. They got a lot of tools here, a lot of arms, more arms than an octopus's slumber party. And Gavin Stone, from all of the names mentioned, even with Sasaki, like Sasaki, we know the upside is insane. At least according to reports, according to projections, can be insane. He's got to just work, lock it in, hopefully be better in year two, which I expect him to be. But Stone was, as Pryor said, a bedrock. He was absolute workhorse. He was somebody who was in the conversation to be an all-star in that 2024 season. And if you're talking about Gavin Stone being the fifth starter or the sixth starter for this team, it's insane. It's an insane amount of talent. As I saw, what is it? Somebody, I think it was Kevin who said in the chat, Lance Lynn just gave up another homer. But the difference is in just a few years, winning baseball is fun when you have a lot of pitching, and this team does have a lot of pitching. People giving some love to DT in here. BC says it's cool how you can use all the DT footage. Yeah, it's my show as well. Alex talking about it. Yeah, I am the producer, the director, co-host, all that kind of stuff. I pretty much put together our talking points. Definitely get help from Riz and a little bit of input from Katie as she gets ramped up with us. But I do the lifting, do the heavier lifting for sure. Chris in the chat asking DT. Yeah, it's another show I have, Dodgers Territory. Check it out on the YouTube. Subscribe there. Subscribe to both of them. This is my channel. I own it. Have Jeff aboard. We Jeff and I, are able to feed our family some off of doing this show, and I do it on the other show as well, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, yada yada. There was another one from Chris. Chris Navarro asking, speaking of timeline, what happened to Bazooka? He is another guy similar to what we're talking about with Kyle Hurt. Bazooka was ramping up last year. Extended show, guys, by the way. We'll be around for maybe another 5-10 minutes and sign off. But Bazooka was trying to get ready for a postseason run. Shoulder kind of didn't respond well to it, so he shut it down in the offseason. But everything he said at Dodger Fest last week, he's in the right, trending in the right direction. He started his throwing progression in like January. He's already at Camelback Ranch throwing a baseball around. He seems like he's gonna be good. He seems like that shoulder's in a good spot. Cut down a little weight as well that he put on. As he said, just eating poorly. The expectation is Brusdar will be healthy and available for opening day. At least we'll just say healthy and available for the start of spring training. Everything is in the right direction for Bazooka, and that's a dude. Getting him back in there, if we had more time with Pryor, or had like an hour with Mark Pryor, I wanted to ask him about getting Brusdar back in there. I think he does bring up Gratterall on his own, but Bazooka getting that guy back in that bullpen. Like we've talked a lot of people have had a lot of opinions about Brusdar Gratterall and his I wouldn't say inability to strike out people, but he doesn't strike out a lot of dudes. That's fine. Go show up, get outs. I don't care. We've seen him get 3 outs on 2 pitches before. Just get outs. That is your job. And he's great at it. He is really, really, really great at it. Got $1.99 from Swell and Sausage. Apparently this is the show where I force people to tell me they like me. I appreciate it. Says you run a hell of a show. Where is 22 getting ready? That is a good question. I don't know. I think they will have Team USA will technically have, or these teams have their own kind of training facilities in different areas. I don't know where theirs is. I haven't looked too much into it. We should start to see it pretty soon. But Clayton Kershaw was on, I think, the MLB Network not terribly long ago and mentioning that he already started throwing. Dude's a multimillionaire. I'm pretty sure he has a pretty good training facility at his house there in the Dallas area. Close to his longtime now retired friend Matthew Stafford. Did you guys know? Anyways, but he's barely gonna pitch. He is barely gonna pitch. Let's be fair. Important thing is he's getting ready. That is the thing. That's the thing that he is doing. What else did I have? I had one more. One more I would definitely wanted to hit. No. A plus. Is Clint the hardest worker on Dodger YouTube? Dude is always live. I work a lot more behind the scenes. I'll say that. I try to put together a good idea. And this is where I hate doing those shows where some of the shows you can do off the cuff are a lot of fun. Like if there's something that broke, that's real easy to talk about. Like breaking news, thoughts, reactions, input, you guys talking about it, and we sign off. But when it's like a thin news day and there's not a whole lot and we're trying to force things, feels to me like we're trying to force things, which is why I was a lot less active this offseason, because I just didn't want to force a lot of content. These shows where you guys give us input, give me, Jeff, Kevin's here giving us things to talk about. That's huge. We love it. We love you guys. So we try to have these shows always incorporate the chat as much as we can. Super chats help a whole bunch, but when we see conversations that make a lot of sense to our either something to jump into or to our narrative, we try to integrate it wherever we can. But to that, work hard, play hard, I guess. I'm live, with 2 shows. You fill up a lot of YouTube real estate. I'm actually picking up more. I won't be live with them, but to make the announcement, I'm joining the Foul Territory Network. I'm going to be what is it again? Freelance director for them. Basically, I'll be pushing the buttons for their Cardinals show now coming up. I don't know exactly when we're starting. And then also foul territory. I'll be running the flagship show here and there. So more buttons. I won't be on the screen. I won't be talking, but we will be busy. We will stay busy. So that's cool. It's going to be coming up. JY Kim says, I actually appreciate Clint having shows when there are topics. Otherwise, people seem to talk up rumors and criticize, speculate about players. Yeah, the rumors, I understand the rumors. And there are some rumors to hit. There are absolutely some rumors that are worth hitting. Others not, for sure. Like anything from Bleacher Report, which is usually just some dude saying like, hey, this trade kind of makes sense. And then he just throws it out and goes about his week and does it again on the next Sunday or Monday. And then you get the people saying like, oh man, the Dodgers are totally about to trade Roki Sasaki to get Tarek Skubal. Like, no, this is a guy saying that's not a rumor. That's a speculation. That's whatever. I don't want to dive into it. We'll stick with speculation. But yeah, as JY Kim said, try to have it be a little more grounded. Let's be grounded. Ground me, daddy. What a weird thing to say. Osterberg says hardest workers, Trevor Lane. I don't watch a lot of the Lakers content, but I know Trevor Lane. Bro puts a lot of work in with Lakers Nation, with some of the other stuff that he does that I have seen. It's a grinder. How much content is too much content, though? I wonder. Jeff, good to see you. He wants me to do 3 hours. I will not. He also wants 2 more hours. Definitely not. Now I'm going to sign off even quicker because Jeff Snyder ruined it for everybody. Jeff will be live, by the way, tomorrow after the big game. I likely will not be joining him because I will be having beverages during the big game. And hopefully the Seahawks win because I got money on the Seahawks. Go. You always got to root for birds. But that's about it. I'm going to sign off now because Jeff wants me to stay on longer. So why not? I had this. Beverly asked earlier, why do the chat comments disappear soon after the stream ends? So that appears to be a YouTube thing because there's a box you could check that says keep the live chat after the stream is over. Unless it's Jeff going in and getting rid of the chat because there might be foul language in the chat and you know how Jeff is. Pause for effect. I like to leave the chat to be available for people to read. I think it's an important part. I think we get the most comments when it's live as opposed to after, and I think there's a lot of good chat, a lot of good comments. So if it doesn't show up, that's a YouTube thing. I try to make it happen. Swollen Sausage, that's a good idea, guys. You should hit the like button as I sign off here. I appreciate you hanging out with me on this Saturday, the final off-season edition. Saturday edition of the show, or whatever, however I word that the more correct way. There will be a spring training edition of Saturday show. That's not that button. I wanted to get rid of that button. Yes, going back. The word spring training, baseball. It's back. It's happening. Boom. All Dodgers. Hate that guy. Jeff says it's not me. Sometimes the checkbox is unavailable to check for some reason. So what I've started doing, Jeff, and you and I will talk right here in front of everybody, scheduling the show on YouTube for us to do on eCam. So great. Beverly missed the first half of the show, was on a work call. So let's start it over. We'll come at you live. Again. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the super chats. Again, every super chat goes directly to supporting me, supporting Jeff, supporting the show, Kevin, all that kind of stuff. You're paying the right people. Also, if you end up supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/realfrg, or clicking the join button here on YouTube, that directly supports us. Appreciate Godzilla becoming a member of the channel. He joined. He paid the $1. I think it's like 99 cents to get emojis. You pay $5, you get access to our Discord where we're talking about the Dodgers all day long. There's a chat, great chat. We appreciate that. Anyways, what else? Thank you to FanDuel for presenting the show. Thank you to Bleav Network for having us on the network, all that kind of stuff. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to the mods for doing a great job, as you always do. And we will see you on the next one. Bye.